Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we have to talk about all things Dodrio, what I like, what I don't like, and ultimately the questions of, is this our new best speedster? You know, should you buy it? Should you go out of your way? Because the thing about it, and we all know this, is that it is currently gem locked. I think it's 575 gems, and yeah, you cannot buy this Pokemon for gold for like 6 days, which is something really interesting, so we definitely have to talk about that a little bit. I think that what we need to recognize is that with leaks coming out from El Chico Eevee to know that the same thing is going to happen with Scizor, this may end up being the status quo. So I definitely think that it's time to maybe consider the fact that this could be the way that the game is going to operate, and the question is, should you go out of your way to buy the Pokemon early? Now, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question. I don't think so. I think that Dodrio is really fun, has a lot of potential to be unlocked with the character, and really ways to master this character, but overall I'm not feeling like this character is so impactful that you should go out of your way to try to pick it up early. But you know, my opinion is kind of been a little flip-floppy at times. Playing it last night, I thought it was really good, and then I got to a point where I was like, man, I'm not really feeling it. I think it's kind of bad, and now I'm feeling like it may be closer to balance than I think. It has a lot of potential. It does a few things really well, and the way that I'm starting to see and unlock the potential of this Pokemon is by finding a balance between doing those things. So what does it do well? It roams the map incredibly well. It is the speedster, right? It's fast, it runs around crazy, it can get a lot of coverage on the map, a lot of mobility, and that's really important on the Thea Sky runes. Absolutely super important. Now, the other thing that it does well is that it ganks really well. If you're running Agility Drill Peck, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, it has very impactful fighting and ganking and potential to do really good damage. And the third thing that it does is that it scores very well. Because of the nature of the passive, where you can cut your score in half or cut it in thirds, it has a lot of score potential, and that's definitely something that you have to consider. So, with all of these things, how do you unlock the potential of that character? Well, in my mind, I was doing one of those things too much, or two of those things too much, and not finding the balance. And the more and more I play this Pokemon, the more I'm starting to see that if you can find and create the balance between all of those different pieces, that's where it feels like the potential comes from. So you want to be roaming the map and having a presence all over the map and forcing them to deal with you. You want to be ganking and being annoying, throwing off their lanes, you know, swaying the lanes in your direction, whether you're jungling or laning as a roamer. You want to be invading, stealing jungle, you want to be scoring. So if you can cut those into like 3 equal parts or some combination of just doing a bit of everything, then I think that you're going to bring a ton of value to the game on Dodrio. That said, as a jungler, I do think that there are better options. That said, as a laner, I think that there are better options. So for me, tier listing this Pokemon right now, it's a bit premature, but I'm feeling like he's somewhere between B+ tier and maybe normal A tier. I'm not exactly sure how much the ceiling of this Pokemon has, right? I really can't feel just how high this thing can go and exactly what you can accomplish on it, but I also don't think that it's bad either. I don't think that it's a useless Pokemon and that you're not going to be able to bring value to the table. This thing can do some crazy damage. So let's go ahead and talk about builds, emblems, my thoughts around how you should be playing it, etc, etc. So I think that this Pokemon is basically 100% agility and drill peck. I tried the jump kick and the tri attack, and they feel okay. They don't feel terrible. It's just that drill peck agility feel really good on this Pokemon. Essentially, you're just doing this like left stick control drive by, almost like Covet Greedent kind of play style, where the only ability in this entire character's kit is tri attack that you can use the right stick with. So if you're not using tri attack, you are completely controlling this character based on the direction you're facing. That's going to take some really unique mechanics to learn, and my first couple games, it's bizarre. You're so disoriented and you feel like you can't control the character, but over time you start to figure it out, and that's when you start unlocking the potential of the character. So with agility and drill peck, you're basically doing these drive-by like sweeping strikes, like these strafing runs, like from like a jet or something, and you start to see the pattern. So what I've been doing is you build up speed and then you drill peck, and then you can agility, and if you want to stay in the fight, you can either agility and like boost it auto onto a target and then kind of kite around and get in and like build up your speed gauge for the next tri attack, or for the next drill peck, sorry, or you can just like kite away. So like you go in, you attack, you like run around, and then you wait, or you use the boosted auto and then you try to find your second drill peck. So the kind of combinations of moves on this character is not really that crazy. You're basically just operating between drill peck, like full speed gauge drill peck, like sweeping strikes. You don't really want to stand there and brawl with them too much. You're incredibly squishy, you die very, very fast, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're, you know, getting value off of your speed gauge and not just throwing out your drill peck for nothing unless you absolutely just need it to kill. So build wise, I think that attack weight is like a must have just because of the nature of scoring, even though you do have to score a lot still to get it. I guess people have labbed out that you're not getting like all the stacks immediately. You do still have to score. This Pokemon scores so easily that it just makes sense. So I definitely am going to continue to run attack weight, and because I'm roaming so much, I think a Floatstone feels really, really good. Third slot option, I've been kind of going back and forth between Muscle Band and Razor Claw. I think if you're really not trying to like hit somebody, stick on the fight, and then auto attack them a bunch, then Razor Claw is the way to go, so you just have that slow and that burst. But I also didn't hate using Muscle Band, so I'm still a little on the fence about that, and I might mess around with it. And emblems wise, you're either going to use like yellow for a lot of move speed. I'm using like a brown focused build that has move speed in the build. You could use like a white brown build that's going to give you HP and additional attack stats. So there's definitely attack stat focused builds that I think that you could probably focus on this Pokemon. And for the battle item, I'm a little torn between the X speed and Goal Getter. It's funny because of the way this character scores, scoring feels kind of easy at times, but you can still get hit and if they can still interrupt it, it's still actually not like guaranteed scores. So Goal Getter feels good, but at the same time, X speed feels good for like mid fight and roaming the map and doing that. So I think that it's going to probably end up being playstyle variants between the two. You know, using Goal Getter, it feels a little extra at times, like it feels like overkill. And then the irony is using X speed, sometimes it feels overkill and extra at times. So not exactly sure which one I like more. But overall, my thought is this: if you have to wait a week to pick this Pokemon up for 14,000 gold, I would say do it. You know, if you can wait a week, I guess I should say, not if you have to. I would say do it. I don't think this Pokemon is so crazy impactful that you should go out of your way to spend the gems on it. Unless you want to, then go for it by all means. This Pokemon's a lot of fun. You're definitely going to pick it up and have a good time with it, but it's not going to necessarily win you games as much as another stronger Pokemon in either the jungle or like the lane/roaming role would. So leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to know, have you played against it? Have you played it? What have you been running? What did you think overall? And I guess as we prepare to go forward with the knowledge that Scizor is also going to be gem locked for like a week and also going to be like 14,000 coins, it's just kind of becoming the new status quo for Pokemon Unite. So really expensive, the inflation and the gem locking are here, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that as well. But friends, as always, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.